Supercars, like skiing, both have something in common. Both glamorous, exciting and above all, expensive. But combining the two disciplines until now has been very, very difficult. Of course, Ferrari thinks it has the answer with its four-wheel drive FF. At the heart of the FF is the new 7-speed semi-automatic four-wheel drive transmission. It was patented by Ferrari 7 years ago, but it's taken them that long to develop into something that does the Italian firm's sporting pedigree justice. Unlike conventional four-wheel drive systems, which are driven through a single gearbox and rely on prop shafts and differentials, the FF setup uses conventional 7-speed gearbox on the rear axle and adds a second gearbox with just 2 gears on the front of the engine. Described as a power takeoff unit, or PTU, energy is drawn directly from the crank into this new gearbox and then fed to the front wheels through a pair of wet clutches. As a result, it's lighter and more controllable than a standard four-wheel drive setup. So I guess building this car for Ferrari is as radical as a move as it is for Porsche, say, building the Cayenne, or even Bentley building the Continental GT. You know, the four-wheel drive system itself is a huge step and extremely complicated. But as complicated as it is, it's here on the road that it really starts to pay a dividend. As the roads dry, as we come out of the mountains and the snow, you can really feel the thing starting to work. And although it's almost imperceptible, the transfer of power from the back wheels to the front, you know that when you turn into the corner and get back on the throttle, it's just going to grip and grip and grip and grip. The noise is just fantastic, fills the cabin. The V12 revs to 8,000 RPM, producing 651 horsepower. The steering's pinpoint accurate. Though there's not an enormous amount of feedback, what is obviously the case is that it's very, very accurate. It gives you a lot of confidence as you're coming up these winding roads, allowing you to place the car with millimetre accuracy. Carbon ceramic brakes, the third generation as such, you know, we've had them on the 458 and indeed on the 360 if you look back far enough, have huge stopping power. They're slightly different now, the technology's changed a little bit, but what remains constant is the way in which they bite into the discs. There's no fade at all, no fade. Even big stops on big downhill sections won't undermine their performance. One other thing that's worth mentioning is the new Manettino system that's fitted to this car. Unlike previous sports cars from Ferrari, this car actually has 5 settings. 5 to take care of the ice and the snow that it's designed to deal with. At the bottom, we've got snow. Turn it into snow. Modifies the way in which the power is fed into the wheels, changes the way in which the gearbox responds. Click it once up to deal with wet surfaces. Again, changes suspension, traction control systems, and indeed the way in which the steering works and the power is fed through to give you a bit more performance. Click once more, and we're up into comfort, the kind of setting you'd use on a motorway, and once again into sport, and we're away. There won't be many cars more exciting than this launched in the UK this year, but how many will you see on the road? Well, Ferrari says around 50. The purchase price of this will be about £227,000, which is a huge amount of money. The question is it really worth that sort of cash? I mean, yes, it's an amazing piece of technology, and I guess beyond that, it's also very comfortable. The 4-seat layout really works well, and there's lots of space in the back. The boot's practical, and yes, you could take it skiing for the weekend if you've got that kind of money. I guess at the end of the day, the fact is that this really does mark a new chapter for Ferrari. It marks a new chapter in terms of the technology that they're using and the kind of cars that they're building. It's sportier than their old GTs, but it's not without its flaws. I found the steering a little numb in places, and yes, the brakes are very powerful, but just a bit more feel would really engage me in the driving experience. I guess for people who have those comments, who perhaps have those questions about whether or not this is the car for them, then it's easy to remember Ferrari built a 458 as well, and maybe you should be looking there.